land on your own moon.
How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about note names on the guitar, how to find them, and how to memorize them. This is very important to further your guitar playing, and there's only a few things you really need to know. To start off, we're going to talk about half steps and whole steps. Now, half steps on the guitar are when you're going up a fret, a single fret. So if we start on fret 2 here and go to fret 3, that is a half step. Now, what a whole step is when you're skipping a fret. So you're going to start from fret 2 to fret 4. Now, we can do this anywhere on the guitar, and we can actually go down a half step and whole step. You might know from your string names and chords that we only use a select group of letters, and that is A through G. It's very important you remember that. It only goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now we have what's called sharp notes and natural notes. The natural note is just the pure letter. So if we take this 3rd fret on the E string, that note is a G. And if we go up a single half step to the 4th fret, that note is a G sharp. That's called sharpening a note, and that is the G sharp note. Now if we go to the 5th fret, this note right here is called A. And if we were to go up a single fret, a half step, that is an A sharp. Now in the musical alphabet, every single note has a sharp besides B and E. Now to memorize the fretboard, all we got to do is start with the open string name, meaning we're not going to fret anything, and we're just going to pluck the low E string. Now that note is the name of the string. It's an E note. Now, you might remember, E and B do not have sharps, and this follows linearly through the alphabet, meaning the next note up is the next letter in the alphabet, which is F. Now, F does have a sharp note, meaning that if we go up a single half step to the 2nd fret, that is F sharp. And after the sharp note comes the next letter in the alphabet, which is G. The letter after that, you guessed it, G sharp. Now what happens after G sharp? I thought the alphabet stopped there. What happens there is the alphabet just repeats. So we go back to the letter A for the 5th fret. And then after that, we have an A sharp on the 6th fret. And after that, we have a B on the 7th fret. Now you might remember, B and E do not have sharps, so we're going right to the next letter of the alphabet, which is C. After that, we're going to go to C sharp. And then on the 10th fret is D. And then D has a sharp, so the 11th fret is D sharp. And then you might notice we're about to approach the 12th fret, and we're going to the E again. Now to show you another example, we're going to go to the A string. So we're going to start with the open A. Then the next note up is A sharp. Then to C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. E doesn't have a sharp, so it goes straight to F. F sharp, G, G sharp, and then you guessed it, on the 12th fret, it's the same as the open string in A. And that's how we find the note names on the guitar. Now to get started memorizing, what I would do is I would memorize your fret markers. That's these dots on the fretboard. And I would memorize the fret marker notes for the E and A string, meaning that I would know the odd numbered frets. So you might not have a fret marker on the 1st fret, but always know on that E string that that note is F. That's very important for later on. But it goes F on the 1st fret, G, A, B, and C sharp, and on 12th fret, it's always going to just be the open string, it's E. Now on the E string, just a quick little thing, it's going to be C on the 3rd fret, next fret marker up is going to be D, then E, then it's going to be F sharp. That 9th fret's always going to be a sharp note on the E and A string. And then the 12th fret, the next fret marker up, that is an A note. Now back to the topic of octaves. If I play the open E string and then play the 12th fret on the E string, that's an octave, where you're playing two of the same notes, but one is lower and one is higher. If you were to play them together, they'd ring in unison, meaning you wouldn't be able to really differentiate the note other than just a tiny little difference. There's no dissonance in the note. And there's a pattern you can learn in order to find those notes. So the first pattern is 2 down, 2 up. If I were to go to the 3rd fret on the E string with my first finger, goes 2 strings down, which is I'll be on the D string, and then 2 frets up, I'd be on the 5th fret of the D. This note is a G. This 5th fret on the D string is also a G. Now, it's the same for the A string as well. If we go play the 3rd fret with our first finger on the A string, and then take our 3rd finger, go 2 strings down, 2 frets up towards the body of the guitar, where my 3rd finger is on the 5th fret of the G string. This note is a C. This note is a C on the 5th fret of the G. So that's how we find on the different strings for the E and A string. But what if we want to find the octaves on the B string? Once you get to the D string, it's going to be 2 strings down, 3 frets up. So if we play, let's say, coming back to the octave of the G. There's the G on the D string. But if we want to find the G on the B string, what we do, 2 strings down, 3 frets up. So place your first finger on the D string 5th fret, play that, go 2 strings down, 3 frets up, where now your pinky is on the 8th fret of the B, and we're just going to pluck those together. It's probably not in tune. I didn't tune before I started this video. And that is the octave. That's how you find the G on the B string. Now, this is a lot of information at once. Again, just take your time. Try to see if you can figure out through the formula of just every note having a sharp besides B and E. That's the biggest thing to really remember. And see if you can memorize the odd numbered frets to get a hang of it. This is very, very important in learning future chords and chord names and what key you're in and so on. And learning the octave shapes just gets rid of a bit of the hassle. So learn that, and I think you'll be successful in your guitar playing.